What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Garage King PH, and for today, I'd like to introduce a series, a little show that we're gonna have here in the channel, okay? And we're going to call it the Builder Stock Series. And for this series, we would like to highlight the talents of Pinoy motorcycle builders. Mga talento na nagkikater sa hilig nating pare-pareho ang pagmumotorsiklo. Ito ay sa suporta ng SIKLO Supplies Company at ni Cafe Racer Manila. I'll pass it over to Mark and to Fritz para discuss pa nila kung para saan ba itong series na to.
Hi, I'm Mark Lakay from Cafe Racer Manila. We bring to you Builder Stock Series in cooperation and partnership with SIKLO Supplies Company.
Hi, I'm Fritz of SIKLO. We mostly bring in different types of items for riders here in the Philippines. We wanted to build up the local build scene and the bike scene for custom builders. So now we made this shop to some sort of place where people and local builders alike can meet up and talk about their builds. And para ma-promote din natin ang mga builds natin locally for the local scene to flourish.
For our first featured builder, it's Ryan Blanco of Workbench Fabrication.
My name is Ryan Blanco of the Workbench Fabrication. I'm an industrial designer and I do bikes and furniture for a living. I came up with the bike with all the interests that I have in mind because I'm fond of bicycles and mechanical stuff in general. It's a combination of all my interests, and that's how I came up with my build for the board track racer, BLACKSTONE 7 horsepower. Pinaka-inspiration ko behind this was yung infancy ng Harley-Davidson and the Indian Motorcycle Company. That's when the time ng sobrang rivalry sila at that time. And that was, nag-meet yung rivalry nila sa board track racing. That is, if you're not aware, board track racing was an oval circuit made out of 2x4s. They were nailed together and they were built as a track. Oval talaga siya. And doon nila ni-race tong mga ganitong bike. So at that time, they were really started as bicycle frames modded with 1000cc engines. They were literally experimenting with their engines on a bicycle frame. So at that time, what fascinated me to build this bike was Industrial Revolution era, the infancy of machines, combustion engines where people aren't even knowledgeable of combustion engines at that time. Ang sobrang nag-fascinate sa akin is, at that time, they can go to the speeds up to 100 miles per hour. They don't even know kung ano yung tamang mga valve clearance at that time. They don't even know kung ano yung sasabog at that time sa mga engine nila. Literally, it's just an experiment. So that's what fascinated me to build this. So the challenge for me is how do I build something from that era with today's technology? So for me, naisip ko is might as well use a modern engine. This one, the power plant is Honda GX200 and it is driven by a dry centrifugal clutch. So when you gas the bike, it just goes. Because at that time, literally, yung mga bikes nun, they don't have a clutch eh. They just bump started. They were standing sa track and some like two people will push them off the track and then they'll just bump start the bike. And then it'll go na as fast as 100 miles per hour without a clutch. And the only thing to stop them from bumping dun sa mga tao sa nanonood sa kanila, the spectators, is by killing the engine, by short-circuiting the engine, and then it just kills the bike. And then at that time, kapag gusto nila umandar ulit, they'll let go of the kill switch again, and then the bike will go again as fast as 100 miles per hour again. So that, imagine from going from 100 miles per hour and then they'll stop at a corner banking at 45 degrees, almost as close as 45 degrees, and then hitting the engine again, then going 100 miles per hour again. So for me, parang naisip ko, sobrang nakakatakot talaga siguro ng ganong feeling at that time. So how do I replicate that with modern technology? So parang for me, what I started was the frame itself. So I look at online kung ano yung mga geometries ng mga frame at that time, how they managed to stretch the frame and carry the engine dun sa frame ng bike. So parang naisip ko agad is to make this cradle na part. Kasi that time, they were just parang putol lang dati yung frame and then they just bolt the engine and that's it. Kaso for me, naisip ko parang hindi yata siya malakas. This engine is medyo powerful siya. So at the time, naisip ko, why not replicate yung ginawa ng Harley Davidson? They made the drop loop frame. So naging signature nila yon sa board track racing, the drop loop frame. Opposed from the Indian na mga 1901 na mga bikes. Kasi yung 1901 na bikes na Indian, putol dito yun. Tapos yung engine is the stress member of the frame. So parang it's part of the stress member. Part talaga siya ng stress ng frame. So parang for me, parang hindi ako contented sa ganung klaseng style ng frame. So I just replicated just a Harley Davidson style. So as for the drive system niya, it is driven by a centrifugal clutch. So I can't make it yung hindi ko siya ma-replicate at that time yung parang wala ng clutch. Kasi medyo hindi siya same sa standards yun. Kasi I'm planning using it sa street sana. Kung gagawin ko yun, yung walang clutch, medyo delikado siya. Start mo under agad siya and then there's no stopping the engine. So what I did was, kumuha na pang go-kart na clutch. And I machined some parts ng konti and tinry ko siyang ma-accommodate dito sa frame na to. So that's what started it, yung pinaka-drive system niya, pati yung pinaka-frame niya. And then at the time naman, ginawa ko na din from scratch. And the front end is made out of 1960s na Schwinn na Springer fork. Gusto ko sana gawin yung replicated na style na Springer fork ng mga Harley Davidson. Kaso parang medyo complicated na siya, kasi dami ng springs. And at that time, tapos nakakita naman din ako online for reference. Medyo halos close to the real thing na rin siya. And this one, going back to the back ng bike, this one is a hand-stitched saddle. Just like yung sa panahon mo, they stitch the saddle ng yung leather, hand-stitched na talaga para naka-curve siya ng part na para salong-salo ka talaga kapag going around corners. Tapos ito naman, yung tires naman, is made out, naman siya, slick tire siya for talagang for track purposes naman. So, it's a standard bicycle tire, but medyo mas heavy duty siya. Tapos, spokes, medyo mas malaki, para mas safe talaga siya. If you go to the other side, kung nakita niyo siya, yung naka-display dito, I just made some provisionary kickstart dito. It's made of bicycle crank actually. So bicycle crank welded with a 420 chain para siya, para makuha niya yung parang gear dito sa kabilang side. So kickstart siya. Kasi originally, yung rope starter siya, yung tie rope and then yung bullet. Kaso naisip ko parang sabi ko, ito look fun. Na starting the bike na hindi na siya. So might as well do a kickstart para medyo ano siyang bike. Magmukha naman siyang bike. And then for this one naman, number 2, that's why I made it number 2 kasi this is the second board track racer that I made. The first one, it's a 2-stroke engine. And I was not satisfied with that. 2-stroke, medyo parang hindi siya bagay at that era kasi hindi naman na ginagamit yung 2-stroke at that time. So ito naman, yung 2, parang more improved version yung number 1 na board track racer. Ito naman, carburetor is from an XR200. Talagang kinanibalize ko talaga yung mga bike talaga na that would fit lang, kung anything that would fit, that's readily available sa atin para mapaandar siya. And then I just tuned it to the exact parang optimum performance niya para sa engine na to. Kasi right out of the box medyo sputtery yung engine niya. Hindi umaandar na maayos. So tinono ko na lang siya and ayun siya. Ginawa ko na lang dito, nag-machine na lang din ako ng sprocket adapter because the hub itself that's holding the spokes and the wheels itself, sa bicycle hub lang na pang mountain bike. And then I just adapted some sprocket adapters, machined some parts para ma-accommodate yung mga motorcycle ng mga sprockets. Actually, that's about it. It used to be an open pipe. Mas maingay siya. But yung nasa village ako, nagreklamo yung mga tao. So I made it na muffler style. Kasi dati open pipe siya, it spits fire. Bumubugat talaga siya ng apoy. Maingay siya, and it's leaking oil. So parang for me, sabi ko, I think sobrang close na ako dun sa na-experience ng mga tao at the 1900s. So parang, I'm satisfied with it, but the neighbors weren't. So, sa isip-isip ko, sige, I might as well just put something na para to keep the noise down. So, ganun yung ginawa ko sa kanya. The brakes actually, don't talk about the brakes because the brakes are almost non-existent. Because originally, the plan was talaga no brakes talaga. Because this one's really, designed to be for track use. Like, kasi yun talaga yung original plan sa kanya eh. Gagamitin mo siya sa track and then walang traffic na talagang involved, so I can let the bike out talaga. It's full performance. But sabi ko, just for the sake of it, I'll just put up brakes. Pero halos ano lang siya, props lang siya. So ayun, if you have any questions, I'm free to answer your questions.
2 questions,
Yeah.
bro. Can you register it, LTO?
Actually, I asked LTO because it's not straight legal kasi maraming mga missing sa kanya, like side mirrors, adequate brakes, chassis number, and engine number. Those lahat yun wala. So those are critical elements for registering bike. Ganun siya. Hindi siya pwedeng in short, hindi siya pwedeng i-register, which is okay lang for me. For track use lang naman kasi talaga siya. Just like production bikes. Wala siyang license, wala siyang plate or anything.
Stone, why BLACKSTONE?
Well, actually, BLACKSTONE kasi, naisip ko rin kasi, una, ano siya, parang pag nasa river ka, if you're seeing, if you're seeing yung parang sobrang black na stone, madali mo siya makita. Parang nagsa-stand out siya. So parang kakaiba siya. Kasi you don't see this kind of bikes normally sa streets.
How long mo binild yan?
This one, it took me around, like I started building this one when I was in college. I was doing my thesis at the time. I was juggling with my thesis in this one. So maybe around a year, I think. I built this one for a year. But this yung ginagawa ko kasi, if I'm super stressed with my thesis, I go to this one, I build this, I continue building this one. And if I don't have much time, siguro I'll just keep it muna sa tabi, and then babalikan ko lang siya. And then, yun yung patagal sa akin, and at the same time, you're sourcing din ng parts. That's why it took me a year to build this one. So right around that, a year after that, sakto-sakto siya sa Moto Pilipinas. And then Zach invited me, hey, you wanna join? Sabi niya, I posted this one online. You wanna join Moto Pilipinas? Okay, sure, sige. Tapos from there on, nag-pick up na siya from there on.
Follow-up question dun sa question ni Sir. Any other improvements for the, in the future?
In the future?
Idadagdag mong mods, mga ganun.
Well, a powerful engine, to be exact. I want a powerful engine. I was originally thinking of the Briggs & Stratton V-twin, the 16 horsepower, and putting a CVT clutch. It's a much more improved version of clutch for this compared to this one. So medyo mas makaka-squeeze ka ng more speed doon. At the same time, mas maganda yung yung torque niya. Kasi this one, you have to be pushed muna bago ka umandar eh. But kung CVT siya, so medyo from dead stop, you can go na. You can use it like any other motorcycle na. So you can really squeeze the maximum performance ng engine. Those are the improvements that I was looking forward sa future if I'm gonna build another one.
KTM 1290 engine, bro. Try mo dyan.
Actually, there's a friend of mine actually saying na why don't you use yung pang 690 na KTM? Sabi ko, ayaw mo muna mamatay kasi medyo masyadong malakas siya eh. Kasi he actually offered me yung pang Supermoto na 690 na engine. Sabi ko, parang siguro next time muna pag medyo malalaki na yung tubes ng frame natin. Medyo hindi na balance yung power to weight ratio niya eh. If it's too powerful and at the same time too light, it'll be all over the place.
Yeah, man.
Ano yung ano na yan? Try mo makuha para makita namin.
Yung stance niya. Yung stance niya would be like this. Medyo you're in a low position. Tapos, they said, how they ride this back in the day, they put the cushion here, tapos they tuck in really low for more aerodynamic at the same time siguro. Pero this one, it won't reach 100 miles per hour, so not like those mga Indians, like yung mga Harley Davidson na 1000cc na mga bikes. As close as possible na rin siya to the real thing. So, for me, that's the closest thing that I can experience yung mga na-experience yung mga tao from the 1900s.
Can we hear it run?
Right now, let me see if there's a gas. Well, actually, there's a gas. But I'll try.
Thanks, bro.
But ready.
Ilan siyang return spring?
Meron, pero mahina na. Dati bumabalik yun eh. Dati bumabalik yun eh.
Minsan kasi matagal ng anong gas sa car. Naninikit.
Sobrang ano na eh.
Ano siya mag-burnout?
Burnout siya eh.
Ang galing nga rin siya. Sa panda rin. Sa panda rin.
And that, my friends, is Ryan Blanco from the Workbench Fabrication. Yan ang unang episode pa lang natin dito sa series na to. Abangan nyo lang, i-announce natin sa channel ang mga susunod pa na episode ng series na to. Alright? This has been your Garage King PH. And for final notes, iiwanan ko sa inyo ulit si Ryan para sa mga contact details niya kung gusto nyo magpagawa sa The Workbench Fabrication.
You can reach me through Facebook. The name of my page is The Workbench Fabrication. And you can also search for my Instagram, The Workbench Fabrication. And my email, theworkbenchfab@gmail.com.